Despite how much Toei has denied the rumors, it's been all but confirmed that Dragon Ball Super is coming back for another series. Since the manga adaptation has started a new arc, and there have been tons of rumors. However, regardless of whether or not it's happening, we can still dream about all the things we want to happen in a potential new Dragon Ball series. So let's go through all the cool stuff we want from Super's return. After the phenomenon that was Dragon Ball Super Broly, many fans have been left wondering where the story of Broly will go from after the film's ending. For those who don't remember, at the end of the movie, Goku promises to train Broly in order to help him control his massive power, as well as to have a strong sparring partner. And this is exactly what should happen in the new episodes of Super. There's a lot of reasons for the new episodes of Super to follow up on Broly. For one thing, the character has been massively popular even before he was rebooted. And second, Dragon Ball Super Broly's version of the character was much more popular and well-received than the original. And we have no doubt the fans want more. And third, Goku getting to actually train a character is a rare occurrence, and seeing him do what he does best, turning bad guys into good guys and undoing the damage done to them by bad people, will definitely make for a great character arc for Broly. To put it shortly, Broly has a lot of story potential, and it would be a darn shame if new episodes of Dragon Ball Super didn't utilize him in some way. Before we talk about what a new Super series should do, let's talk about one major thing they should absolutely avoid: new Super Saiyan forms. Seriously, there's just too many Super Saiyan forms in the series. There's good old Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue, and Broly and Kale's legendary Berserker forms. We don't need new Saiyan forms, especially not to show that a character has become stronger. Since as Dragon Ball has gone on, Super Saiyan forms have become shorthand for power growth. We think this needs to change, and new episodes of Super are the best way to implement this change. In the new series, Goku, Vegeta, Broly, and all the other Saiyans shouldn't achieve new Saiyan forms in order to get stronger, since it'll just muddle up the franchise with more transformations, and it would leave the series open for more training-based power-ups. A classic aspect of the series that needs to come back. Muddling up the franchise is really our biggest concern here, since with each new Super Saiyan form, the previous one tends to be forgotten about or abandoned. There's enough Super Saiyan forms to work with. The franchise doesn't need any more. There are several points throughout Dragon Ball Super where Whis has implied, asked, or wondered if Vegeta would ever consider becoming a destruction god like Beerus. There doesn't seem to be an explanation as to why Whis has asked this, but fans have theorized it has to do with Beerus' laziness and or the fact that Vegeta has pretty much been doing Beerus' job his whole life, getting rid of powerful bad guys right alongside Goku. Whatever the reason, we definitely want to see this storyline explored in a new Dragon Ball Super series. It doesn't necessarily have to be a major saga or anything like that, maybe just a short mini-saga of Vegeta denying the role to show that he cares more about protecting his family and adoptive planet. Or if they want to really get into the idea, they could make it the character's new arc, since the whole used to be bad but now good shtick has played its course. And Vegeta could really use some new direction to give him an interesting role in new Super episodes. Of course, these are all just suggestions and opinions, and we'd be perfectly fine if Whis and Vegeta just completely dropped the whole Destroyer God thing in the new Super episodes. Fans of Dragon Ball Super seem somewhat split on Joran as an antagonist. The character first appeared in the Tournament of Power saga, where his whole character would be summed up by the fact that he was the strongest warrior in the multiverse, and that's about it. While we can't deny that Joran needed a little more going on for him than being a strong loner, we also can't deny that he still had story potential that we think should be realized in new episodes of Dragon Ball Super. Now that there's more or less peace amongst the Dragon Ball multiverse, we think this opens up a couple of interesting opportunities. Namely, we've no doubt that Goku would want to travel to Universe 11 to challenge Joran to another fight. But there's more to it than that. Goku and Joran should become friends, sparring partners even. Some kind of relationship where Goku's positive, flat character arc does what it does, and positively change Joran for the better, redeeming his character's poor reception. However it's done, Joran deserves a second chance as a character, since there are some great ideas planted within him that could grow if given more time and exploration. If there's one thing that all fans of Dragon Ball Super could agree on, it's that the series was rather lacking in the animation department. Much of the series' ridiculed and criticized bits of bad animation were likely due to time constraints, and no one's blaming the hard-working artists on the show. That being said, fans were treated to literally the best-looking version of Dragon Ball Super with Broly, and we hope that same level of care is put into upcoming episodes of Super. Now, obviously we can't get the exact level of Broly since that had a film's budget, but if there are to be new episodes of Super, it would be awesome if they had animation quality similar to that of Broly. If this means the episodes come out every other week to grant animators more time to give the series the focus and care it needs, so be it. We'd love a high-quality, awesome-looking Super sequel series. It's not just the quality of animation either. We'd also love the design work of Broly to make it into the new Super episodes, since there are times in old Super episodes where everyone looks like weird, polished statue versions of themselves. Why are they so shiny? Maybe not everyone's on board with this idea, but we think it might be worth exploring the story of Dragon Ball FighterZ as possible material for the return of Super. Again, we could see how the story isn't perfect and how it might not be worth adapting, but there are some cool ideas in there, namely Android 21. For those who haven't played the game or haven't played through the story mode, it's okay, because the aptly named Super did it for us. Android 21 is a character original to FighterZ, who's the android version of Dr. Giro's wife and Android 16's mother. Right off the bat, there's some very clear, strong drama, and if the characters and story are reworked a bit, we could have a whole new android saga for the Dragon Ball franchise. If an adaptation of the FighterZ story mode were to happen, all of the resurrected villain stuff should be cut. Asher the plot device that explained why players were in control of the characters, but otherwise there's some significant story potential in Android 21's awakening and evil plotting. Though, maybe they should also get rid of her weird Majin Buu-like form, since it always seems so out of place and just plain weird. We've spent so much time talking about all the places the new Dragon Ball Super series could go that we failed to talk about where it's going right now. We are, of course, referring to the fact that the Dragon Ball Super manga has continued on past the Tournament of Power. Instead of ending there like the anime did, the manga has continued on with the Galactic Patrol Prisoner Saga, which depicts Moro as the main antagonist. Moro, also known as the Planet Eater, is a powerful wizard who once threatened the fate of the universe, earning him a place as a prisoner of the Galactic Patrol. Moro eventually escaped from prison and sought to continue his evil ways, leading Goku and Vegeta to attempt to stop him. We don't want to get too far deep into the story to avoid spoiling it for those who haven't read the manga, but the point is that Dragon Ball Super's return has a place to start: the Galactic Patrol Prisoner Saga. Even if they don't adapt it exactly, since the Super manga has been quite different from the anime, making this saga in the anime seems to be the only logical first step for Super's new episodes. Some fans might think that Frieza's many returns in the Dragon Ball franchise tend to cheapen the character and the story of his original saga. While we can see where this thought process comes from, Frieza being back in the picture at the end of the Tournament of Power actually worked out really well for the franchise as a whole. Some might call it falling back on old tricks to try to recreate what the first Frieza saga did, but Dragon Ball Super Broly proved otherwise. Since Frieza's role in the film, as well as where his character was left at the end of it, set up some great storytelling for future episodes of Super. As some may know, Frieza was resurrected at the end of the Universal Survival Saga, and in Broly, he wanted to use Earth's Dragon Balls for his own selfish wishes. At the end of the film, Frieza was still left alive, ready to come to Earth and attack at any point. Leaving Frieza alive leaves a ticking time bomb in the Dragon Ball universe, one that leaves a lot of room for new Frieza stories and new episodes of Super. Frieza's out there somewhere, plotting, and we want to see what he has in store. Okay, you remember how at the end of the Future Trunks saga, Trunks and Mai flew off to find another timeline where they could live after their entire timeline was destroyed by Zeno? Yeah, that was pretty messed up, especially since the entire point of Trunks coming back in time twice was to save his future, only to have it erased by dumb baby god Zeno. The point is that Trunks and Mai's timeline was completely lost forever, forcing them to find a new home in a different timeline. Only we didn't actually learn where they ended up, if they're alright or if they're living in a timeline where future versions of them already exist. It's all pretty crazy and confusing, but we have no doubt that another future Trunks saga would make for a great way to show where Trunks and Mai ended up. Maybe a whole saga isn't necessary, but a few episodes of the new Super series could be dedicated to showing us how things are going for the two future characters. Specifically, we'd like to know how well they've been adjusting, knowing all the people they'd been fighting for were erased from existence. Maybe we're alone on this one, but we sure hope that the potential new episodes of Dragon Ball Super keep all the slice-of-life moments that made the old episodes great. Things like Goku working on his family's farm and Vegeta trying to enjoy a vacation were some of the best parts of the series, since they were always great combinations of comedy and character moments that showed what life is like for these superhuman warriors when they have their day off. If Dragon Ball Super really is making a comeback, we hope they keep up these slice-of-life moments, since the series would just feel empty without them. In fact, if there's one thing to change about the slice-of-life moments in a new Dragon Ball Super series, it would be to add more of them, specifically in the at-home category. We'd love to see what Vegeta's like at home with his kids, or what Goku's like when the family decides to eat out for a change. Any and all situations where Goku and Vegeta forget that they're superhuman monsters whose power can basically destroy the universe are pretty hilarious, like when Goku infamously ran through a wall. Give us more grade A comedy like that in the new Super series. At the end of Dragon Ball Z, Boob was introduced as the reincarnation of Kid Buu. Boob's potential as a warrior could be seen in his match against Goku, and in the middle of the fight, Goku just left to train him to unleash his potential. Boob was also mentioned in the Dragon Ball Super anime and shown in the manga adaptation. If Super really is coming back, we think it's about time to bring Boob into the picture. Maybe not right away, maybe not as a major character, but we just want him to be in little scenes, showing his power potential and the events that lead him to fight in the World Martial Arts Tournament during the Dragon Ball Z epilogue, if that's still canon. Regardless of how the character is introduced, Boob has some strong story potential, and as long as he's not handled in the way he was in Dragon Ball GT, we think there's some good material from the character. We have no doubt that we might be alone in thinking Boob is a good choice for potential story fodder in new episodes of Dragon Ball Super, but there's some cool ideas that could come out of him. There are a lot of characters that have been introduced into the Dragon Ball universe, only to never come back after their initial appearance. Tarble is one of those characters, since after his first appearance in Yo! Son Goku and his friends return, he's only been mentioned, never actually coming back. However, we think it's time the character makes his return to the franchise, especially since it's been made clear that Frieza's army and empire are reforming and growing with each passing day. If Super really is making a return, then Tarble should too. Maybe he could return to Earth to seek a permanent home for him and his wife. Or maybe him and Broly could run into each other and become best friends without Goku and Vegeta even knowing. It really doesn't matter how the character returns, we just want him back instead of him being a one-off throwaway character, something that Tarble doesn't deserve since he's the brother of one of the franchise's biggest characters. We're not on the creative team for the new episodes of Super, and we have no idea if those episodes are even happening to begin with. But if we had a say in it, we'd say bring Tarble back, darn it! Speaking of characters returning, Cheelai also needs to come back if Broly is returning in future episodes of Super. In fact, both her and Broly's relationship should be explored a bit in the new Super series. It's something of a trope of Dragon Ball that strong-willed ladies have their hearts warmed by the big dummies that make up the Saiyan race and vice versa. Taking this into consideration, as well as the fact that Broly and Cheelai already had a rather cute chemistry, we have no doubt that a very adorable relationship is going to blossom between these two. At least we hope this will happen in a new Dragon Ball Super series. We have to imagine that Broly, like Goku, will be woefully ignorant about, well, everything romance-related, which will be half the fun of the relationship. Heck, we'd like to see him adjusting to Earth life too, if the series brings him back to Earth eventually. Regardless of how it all unfolds, we'd love to see Broly and Cheelai's relationship develop if Dragon Ball Super is coming back, since they're just so darn cute together. Plus, we know from Vegeta and Goku that Saiyans like strong-willed women, and Cheelai definitely fits that bill. If there's one thing that definitely needs to happen in new episodes of Dragon Ball Super, it's a time skip. It doesn't have to happen right away, but we think that like the Buu saga in Dragon Ball Z, one of the sagas in a new Dragon Ball Super series should take place a significant time in the future. Heck, it wouldn't be too crazy to fast forward to the time period in which the Dragon Ball Z epilogue took place, showing characters like Goten, Trunks, Pan, Marin, and Bulla as preteens and teenagers as a means of finally giving them some spotlight time. There are a lot of options with this, but the point is that we need some time to pass in the timeline of Super, and for there to be some kind of massive effect from this time skip, be it Frieza's army being much more powerful or, say, the world finding out about the power of the Z Fighters. Like we said, there are a lot of ways this can go, and as long as things don't move too far in the GT direction, it could really shake things up in Dragon Ball Super. Speaking of time skips, Trunks and Goten really need to age up. For some reason, they haven't changed since the Buu saga, and still act like little kids despite being teenagers by the time of the Tournament of Power. What we're trying to say is that these characters deserve to have character growth and arcs in the same way that Gohan got to have in the Cell saga, and even the early Buu saga. Where's Kid Trunks' coming-of-age story? What about Goten's character arc? Trunks and Goten got a bit of time in the limelight in the Buu saga when they learned to fuse, but there wasn't all that much character growth going on in this part of the saga. The characters were just spotlighted. There were some semblances of this for Trunks in the Future Trunks saga of Dragon Ball Super, but we want something more, something substantial that cements the character as important rather than the children of the main characters. Hopefully, one of the sagas in the potential new Dragon Ball Super series focuses on Trunks and Goten, perhaps the one that time skips and gives them what they deserve: proper character growth and purpose in the larger Dragon Ball universe. So, there you have it, all the things we want from Dragon Ball Super's return. Did we leave anything out? What do you want to see from the franchise's next installment? Let us know what you think down in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to CBR for more Dragon Ball videos. Thanks for watching.